It is September, that means it is time for our new finished art challenge. Got a whole bunch of art to check out from last month, and we have a brand new featured illustrator for the month, so let's dive into it. Where to start? Let's start with our featured illustrator this month. Our featured illustrator is Paolo Limoncelli. Paolo is an illustrator who does some phenomenal painting work, but you might actually know him from his brushes. His site, which is ADOBE Brushes, has brushes available for Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, and PROCREATE. In fact, many of his brushes for Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer come with the apps. Another impressive mark on Paolo's resume is the fact that he is the UX designer and the UI designer for the iPad versions of Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer. I'm gonna link to all his stuff down below, so if you want to learn more about him, definitely check that out. And you can even read an article about what it was like to design the interface for the mobile application for Affinity. Since he is our featured illustrator this month, Paolo has provided another illustration that we're going to be using, an illustration for you to finish. We're going back to the pirate theme this month. So if you're new here, this is how this challenge works. Step 1, you grab this drawing. There is a link in the description down below. Step 2, you finish this drawing in whatever program you want and in whatever style that you want. The only boundary to how you create your artwork is your own creativity. Step 3, you go online and you post it with the hashtag #FinishedArtChallenge. This will help me find it so I can feature artwork for next month, and it'll help other people find it so we can learn from each other, because really, that's the ultimate goal here. We want to see how other artists and illustrators finish the same sketch, approach the same challenges, and do them in drastically different ways. Speaking of learning from other artists, let's take a look at some of the submissions that I really liked from this past month. If you recall, our featured illustrator last month was Eric Merced, and he provided this wonderful sketch for us. And we got a lot of great submissions. But before I do that, I'm actually gonna backtrack. The month before, there was one piece of art which I thought was phenomenal, but it came in the day after I finished making this video. It was posted on Instagram by @roundalmost. They did this amazing three-dimensional rendered thingy. I don't know how to describe its awesomeness, but you can see for yourself. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so beautiful that I had to feature it this month. Anyway, on to August submissions. First of all, I love it when people take the initial illustration and completely redo it in their own style. That's something that Space Pirate Design did several times. Taking the original piece of art as inspiration to just redraw the whole thing, or take that scenario and spin it on his head like he did with his second submission here. I'm featuring these because I really like line art, ink lines, black and white drawings. It really brings out the contrast of something. The one on the left is another reimagining of the illustration of the monster, and the one on the right I think does a lot of cool things with contrast, some nice ink lines going on there. What shade do I make the monster or the little space fighter so that it stands out from the background? Those sorts of decisions that are being made in here. I also love it when people use flat colors. The one on the left by Ram 007 has some wonderful contrast. You can really pick up the little spaceman. He's much lighter than the background behind him, even though his guns and his pants are darker. They're using this middle ground color to make all those colors pop. Even though there's a lot of middle ground colors going on here, they do a really good job of defining which elements go where, and nothing really gets lost here. It's very clear and crisp. The one on the right is using a lot more texture, so you start to lose things here and there, but the vibrant colors really help you differentiate which objects belong to what. I think that username is pronounced Magical Focus 99. At first I wasn't even going to try to pronounce it, but now I think I get it. Nice work, guys. Nick Grant really went to town with different colors and different shades. I like looking at how he's done some of these elements. For example, there's a really strong light source on the monster, like underneath it, so you have this light yellow which defines the edge, that bottom edge of the monster, but the top of the monster gets pretty dark. But also that light focus on the tongue helps that stand out. Also the arms stand out from that darker background because of the same light on dark paint thing. And it all seems to be coming from the planet, which could be a moon. I think he's decided to make it a sun and make it that primary light source. I think it works well. We got some more ink lines on the right-hand side with Pratt Punk. This one I decided to include because I thought it was interesting that one, he changed the spaceman. I thought that was kind of funny. But also, he decided to texture the monster. Now, these two, I think, are using photographic references. Definitely the one on the left by OEgraphics_v2.ai. Great username, by the way. He's using a photo of Mars. He even has the Mars rover in the background. That's pretty cool. The Martian sky. I think it blends well, it works well, and it doesn't really look out of place. And the one on the right by Carolyn Siegel is also doing something similar. I think that's a photograph of a starry sky. I apologize, Carolyn, if you actually drew that yourself, but it adds a little bit more personality than you might get if you were hand drawing something. I like this one just because I really like it when people take a digital sketch and actually turn it into a physical piece. This is another one of those hand cut paper things that I really like. Splattered background, a lot of stuff going on here. I included the second picture just because I wanted to kind of be able to zoom in and see what he was doing. Great stuff. One More Kite turned into the cover of a science fiction magazine, which works really well. And on the right, Frank Porter coming back again with another submission. This one looking good. I like the muted colors. I think it's working well. I'm including these two as honorable mentions because I think they did it well. The one on the left, I like the really high contrast painting that's going on here. They're flat colors, but they're really high contrast colors. For example, there's a very light green on the monster itself, and there's a very dark green shadow. That could be really hard to pull off. The one on the right I'm including just because I thought it was unique. The foreground elements are actually darker than the background elements, but this is the one of the few illustrations in this bunch that tried to do that. This is our winner for the month. Okay, we don't really have winners, so I probably shouldn't say winner, but this is the one that really blew me away. Zat 3AM. Wow, this is really truly amazing. I love what he's done here. He's taken the monster's mouth and he's put like this inner glow there. It's this such a light blue that makes it stand out from all the darkness around it. Same thing with the eyes. The eyes are a glowing blue. They're really creepy. The spaceman looks like he's really about to charge at him. Since this is on Instagram, he had some close-ups too, so I grabbed those just to throw him in here. I like how the sword's glowing a little bit. The spaceman kind of has this motion blur on him like he's in action. This is just really awesome. So those are the submissions for this month. Now next month, I'm going to be doing the same thing. We're going to have another featured illustrator here. So at the beginning of October, we're going to be reviewing the submissions that we got for Paolo this month. There were so many more that I couldn't include on here. So if you want to check those out, go to Twitter, go to Instagram, search for the hashtag, and you're going to see a whole bunch of submissions. And I would like to thank everybody who participated. I really appreciate it. And I think that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.